What if the greatest power you hold is not in what you share, but in what you protect? We live in an age of oversharing, believing that connection comes from laying our entire lives bare. But what if this is a profound misunderstanding? Most will see this as a call for secrecy and distance. They will miss the deeper science of strategic vulnerability. 99% will skip the final chapter on the art of the reveal, and without it, they will simply build walls, not the intriguing, magnetic aura that is the true goal. The open book. We've been sold a story. It's the story of the open book. It's the idea that to be liked, to be trusted, to be seen as authentic, we must share everything. We post our wins, our losses, our meals, our heartbreaks, our every fleeting thought on a public stage. In our professional lives, we over-answer questions in interviews. We spill our personal struggles to colleagues in the name of bonding. We reveal our entire strategy to anyone who asks. We believe this makes us relatable. We believe it makes us human. And in some ways, it does. But it also makes us incredibly and often dangerously predictable. Think about it from a psychological perspective. The human brain is a pattern-matching machine. It is wired for curiosity. It is drawn to puzzles, to mysteries, to things it doesn't fully understand. When you present yourself as a completely open book, you have, in essence, solved the puzzle for everyone before they've even had a chance to become curious. You have given them the entire story, the beginning, the middle, and the end. There is no intrigue. There is no reason for them to lean in, to ask more questions, to invest their own mental energy in getting to know you. You have made yourself common. You have become background noise. This isn't about being deceptive. It's about understanding the science of human connection and influence. When we know everything about someone, a subtle psychological process occurs. We feel we have them figured out. We put them in a box. And once someone is in a box in our mind, it is very difficult for them to get out. We stop seeing their potential for growth, for surprise, for depth. We see only the finished story they have presented. This can be devastating for your career, for your relationships, for your own sense of self. If people believe they know everything about you, they will also believe they know your limits. They will know what you are capable of and what you are not, and their perception will inevitably become a self-fulfilling prophecy. The open book approach also leaves you incredibly vulnerable, and not in a good way. It gives away your leverage. In a negotiation, in a professional setting, even in a personal relationship, information is a form of currency. When you give away all your information for free, you have no currency left to trade. You reveal your weaknesses, your insecurities, your entire hand of cards, and you are left with nothing to play. People, even those with the best intentions, will subconsciously use this information. They will know how to push your buttons. They will know your breaking point. They will know the limits of your ambition. You have given them the user manual to your own psyche, and you can't be surprised when they use it. The power of mystery. The antidote to being an open book is not to become a locked diary. It is to cultivate an aura of healthy, intriguing mystery. This is not about being cold, aloof, or secretive. It's about being a masterful storyteller, and every great storyteller knows that the power is not in what you tell, but in what you don't tell. It's about creating a sense of depth, a sense that there is more to you than meets the eye. It is about being a fascinating puzzle that people are genuinely eager to solve. This is the foundation of true charisma and influence. Think about the most captivating people you know. Are they the ones who tell you their entire life story in the first 5 minutes? Or are they the ones who listen more than they speak, who answer questions thoughtfully but not exhaustively, who share a compelling story or a unique insight but leave you wanting to know more? They are not withholding in a way that feels guarded or suspicious. They are selective in a way that feels confident and intriguing. They are the curators of their own narrative. They understand that every detail they share is a brush stroke in the portrait of who they are, and they choose their strokes with care and intention. This power of mystery works on a deep, primal level. When we can't quite figure someone out, our brain becomes engaged. We start to dedicate cognitive real estate to them. We think about them after the conversation is over. We wonder about their background, their motivations, their skills. This mental investment is the beginning of influence. You are literally taking up space in their mind. This is a far more powerful position to be in than the person who was pleasant. shared a lot, and was promptly forgotten the moment they walked away. This doesn't mean you should be evasive or lie. Absolutely not. Authenticity is still the goal, but authenticity is not the same as full disclosure. You can be completely authentic in what you do share, while still choosing to keep many parts of your story private. It is the difference between showing someone a single, beautiful, and intriguing photograph from your travels and forcing them to sit through a 3-hour slideshow of every single picture you took. One creates intrigue and connection, the other creates boredom and exhaustion. The power of mystery is the art of showing the photograph, not the slideshow. It is a sign of self-possession. It signals that your sense of self is not dependent on the constant validation of others through oversharing. You are a complete story on your own, and you are inviting others to discover it, chapter by chapter, not all at once. The information diet. So, how do we put this into practice? It starts by putting yourself on an information diet. This is a conscious and intentional practice of being more selective about the personal information you share, especially in professional or new social settings. This is not about being unfriendly, it is about being strategic. It is about understanding that your personal stories, your struggles, your vulnerabilities, and your big dreams are precious. They are not casual commodities to be given away to just anyone. They are gifts to be shared with those who have earned your trust. The first step is to master the art of the pivot. When someone asks you a personal question that you are not comfortable answering or that you feel is simply too much, too soon, you don't have to shut them down. You simply acknowledge the question and then gently pivot the conversation back to them or to a more neutral topic. For example, if a colleague asks, "So, what's your biggest weakness?" Instead of launching into a soul-bearing confession, you can smile and say, "I'm always working on improving my public speaking skills. I actually saw you give a great presentation last week. What's your secret?" You have answered briefly, and then you have pivoted the spotlight back onto them. This is not evasive, it is graceful. Most people love to talk about themselves, and they will barely notice the subtle shift. You have maintained a positive, friendly connection without giving away a crucial piece of your psychological user manual. Another key practice is to stop volunteering information that hasn't been asked for. We often do this out of a nervous need to fill silence or a misguided attempt to build rapport. We finish a work-related story and then, feeling awkward, we tack on a completely unrelated personal detail about our stressful morning or our argument with our partner. This is a nervous leak of information. The practice is to become comfortable with the pause. When you have finished your thought, simply stop. Let there be a moment of silence. It is in that space that the other person can lean in. It is in that space that curiosity is born. You are creating a vacuum that they will feel compelled to fill, often by asking a question that allows you to guide the conversation in the direction you want it to go. This information diet also applies to your digital life. Before you post something on social media, ask yourself, who is this for? What is my intention in sharing this? Does this add to the intriguing, professional, and confident portrait I am trying to build, or does it detract from it? This doesn't mean your online presence has to be a sterile, corporate-looking facade. You can absolutely share your personality. But be the curator. Share the beautiful photograph, not the entire messy camera roll. Every post, every comment is a data point that people are using to build a story about you in their minds. Make sure you are the one writing that story, not your unfiltered, impulsive emotions. The power of the question. One of the most effective and elegant ways to protect your own information while simultaneously building powerful connections is to become a master of the question. The person who is asking the questions is the person who is in control of the conversation. They are the one guiding the flow of information. They are the one learning, and they are the one who will be perceived as the most interesting and charismatic person in the room. This is a beautiful paradox. To be more interesting, you must be more interested. When you shift your focus from what can I tell them about me to what can I learn about them, the entire dynamic of an interaction changes. You are no longer under pressure to perform, to have the most clever story, or to prove your worth. Your only job is to be curious. This is an incredibly liberating and powerful position to be in. When you ask someone a genuine, thoughtful question about their work, their passions, their challenges, you are giving them a profound gift. You are giving them your undivided attention. You are making them feel seen, heard, and valued. And that feeling is one of the most addictive and attractive feelings in the world. People will leave that conversation thinking you are absolutely brilliant, not because of anything you said about yourself, but because of how you made them feel. The key is to ask good questions. Don't just ask the generic, "So what do you do?" Go a layer deeper. Ask, "What's the most exciting project you're working on right now?" Or, "What's the biggest challenge you're facing in your industry?" Instead of asking, "Where are you from?" ask, "What's something you love about the place where you grew up?" These kinds of questions invite stories, not just one-word answers. They open the door to a more meaningful and memorable connection. As they are sharing, your job is to listen, not just to wait for your turn to talk, but to truly listen. Listen for the emotional undertones. Listen for the things they are excited about. Listen for the values that are hidden in their stories. And then your follow-up questions can be even more powerful. "That sounds fascinating. How did you first get into that?" Or, "That sounds incredibly challenging. What did you learn from that experience?" By doing this, you are not only protecting your own information, you are gathering valuable intelligence. You are learning about the other person's priorities, their pain points, their passions. This is the currency of influence. And all the while, you are building a powerful bond of rapport and trust because you are demonstrating a genuine interest in who they are as a person. You are becoming a puzzle they want to solve, precisely because you are so focused on solving the puzzle of them. Strategic vulnerability. Now, this is the part where most people get confused. They hear, "Don't let people know too much about you," and they think it means they must be an emotionless robot, a fortress with no doors. This is not the case. The goal is not to eliminate vulnerability. The goal is to deploy it strategically. Strategic vulnerability is the art of sharing a personal story or a moment of weakness with the right person at the right time for the right reason. It is one of the most powerful connection tools we have, but if used incorrectly, it can be one of the most damaging. Think of your vulnerabilities as your most precious jewels. You would not scatter your most precious jewels on the sidewalk for any stranger to pick up. You would keep them in a safe place, and you would only show them to people you trust, people who you know will appreciate their beauty and their value. It is the same with your stories of struggle, of failure, of heartbreak. These stories are the source of your wisdom, your resilience, your humanity. They are incredibly valuable. To share them indiscriminately is to devalue them. So, how do you use them strategically? First, you must earn the right to hear someone's vulnerability, and they must earn the right to hear yours. This is the principle of reciprocity. A connection should be like a slow dance. You take a small step of sharing, and you see if they take a small step in return. You might share a small, low-stakes frustration, like being stuck in traffic that morning. You watch their response. Do they empathize? Do they share a similar small frustration? Or do they dismiss it or turn the conversation back to themselves? Their response is a data point. It tells you whether this is a person who is capable of holding your story with care. You build trust in these small, incremental steps. You do not lead with your biggest, most painful story. You lead with a small, safe one. The second part of the strategy is intention. Before you share a vulnerability, ask yourself, what is my goal in sharing this? Is it to build a deeper bond with this specific person? Is it to illustrate a point and teach a lesson? Is it to show that you are human and relatable in a leadership position? If you have a clear, constructive intention, then the sharing is strategic. If your intention is simply to vent, to seek validation, or to dump your emotional baggage on an unsuspecting person, then it is not strategic. It is a burden. Strategic vulnerability is about sharing your scars, not your open wounds. A scar is a story of healing. It says, I went through something difficult, I learned from it, and I am stronger now. An open wound is a cry for help. It says, I am in pain right now, and I need you to fix it. Sharing scars builds connection and respect. Sharing open wounds with people who have not earned that level of trust can create discomfort, pity, and a loss of perceived competence. Be a storyteller of your resilience, not a narrator of your ongoing pain. This is the art of being human and strong at the same time. The art of the reveal. This brings us to the final and most important principle. This is the art that ties everything together. It is the understanding that your life, your personality, your skills are a story that is constantly unfolding. The goal is not to hide the story, but to be the masterful narrator. This is the art of the reveal. It is the conscious and intentional practice of revealing different facets of yourself over time. in a way that creates intrigue, builds trust, and maintains a sense of depth and discovery. Think of your favorite movie or novel. Does it tell you everything about the main character in the first chapter? Of course not. It gives you a glimpse. It shows you an interesting quirk, a moment of strength, a hint of a mysterious past. And that is what hooks you. You want to know more. You are invested in the journey of discovery. You must learn to treat your own life story with that same level of narrative skill. The first meeting is the movie trailer. It should be compelling, intriguing, and hint at a much bigger story, but it should not give away the ending.